morning. It is a dark, cold, and rainy day here in Rhode Island. However, it is the perfect moment to continue our discussion on mental health. We are Beyond Eons Productions. I am your host, Nikki, and this is Wednesday Whispers, episode 11. So, Dante had the awesome pleasure to interview Dr. Cynthia Almonacy this past weekend, the episode came out this weekend, and there is a part 1 and a part 2, and we are going to have the pleasure of having her on next Wednesday. I am super excited about it. I'm going to bring the guys on now, and we're going to discuss part 1. I hope some of you had the opportunity to watch it. If not, we'll catch you up, and perhaps you'll be able to go back and watch at some point. Hi, Creative Chaos. All right, here we go. Let's get the guys on and we'll get rolling. Let's see. Oh, and I restarted my phone. Check. Everything's plugged in. Everything's charged and ready to go. All right, Jakeem, I got you. Dante, I got you. All right. Let's see if we can get them going in here. I hope everyone's doing well this morning, and yesterday was such a beautiful day. It was 70 here, and had the opportunity to go out and walk, and definitely helps with mental health, being out in the sun and the warmth and just feeling energized and invigorated with the sun. It makes such a huge difference. Hi, SFM Digital. All right, guys, where are you at? Let's try this again. Okay. All right, I've invited both of you guys on, so hopefully you see it. So until I can get these guys on, the episode that came out last weekend was Mind Games Part 1. Again, we had Dr. Cynthia on. Dr. Cynthia is a mental health counselor, and she owns a private practice. And also, I just got on her Instagram page, and come to find out she is an adjunct faculty for Rhode Island College, which I think is extremely important for our youth today. So if those of you who are going to Rhode Island College, please go see Dr. Cynthia. If you guys are going through anything and need to talk, go see her, and she will be there for you to get you through whatever situation that you're going through. I might be on by myself today. Hopefully we don't have to restart it again. All right, guys, where are you? Well, Dante told me last week, don't stop, keep rolling, so that's what I'm going to do. So the episode starts off just with Dante asking what is mental health, and it took a little bit to get to an answer because it was kind of like in two parts. So Dr. Cynthia explained about mental health more so today than what mental health is. But one thing that I really liked that she said was that mental health is bigger than just a diagnosis. Many times we think that we have to have something so dramatically wrong with us, so off, that it has to take some severe diagnosis to seek help. And one of the things that she mentioned was now people are more apt to go speak to someone before it gets to that point. There you guys are. And I think that's vital. I think that's so important to see someone, to talk about what's going on, getting it out on the table to someone who's experienced, who's a professional, who has an unbiased opinion, can kind of break down what's going on with you, to shed some light on where these feelings could be coming from, what direction that you need to go to, and kind of how to settle things in your mind to get past it and to start improving whatever it is that you're going through. And COVID definitely was that moment where people were like, okay, I can't handle this anymore. I'm cooped up inside. I'm cooped up with people I love, but I'm not used to being around them all the time. Hey, Candria, how are you? And it really set the stage for people to be more vocal about getting help. Unfortunately, here in Rhode Island, it was kind of the same thing, but I think a lot of practitioners and people were actually leaving the practice or not being available because of being scared to deal with in-person counseling. And my daughter happened to be going through some things. I've been going through some things, and it was really difficult to get her help at that time, which was very frustrating. So it was kind of a blessing and a curse at that moment for me personally. But I do know that it just really did spark a new age of people who just needed to reach out and say it's okay to get help. I don't know, I'm not getting you guys in there. Hey, how you doing, Kevin? I just saw your last reel and I meant to watch it, but I just jumped on the live, so I'll go back and watch it in a little bit. Kendra, did you get back on? Which are you talking about? The live dropped. If you don't mind explaining a little bit, let me know what you mean. Jakeem, what's up?
Morning.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah. What happened? Did it take you a while to get on, or?
No, I misplaced my phone. I left it on my black phone. I left it on top of something black, and I kept walking past it like, where did I put my phone?
Uh-oh. All right, let's get Dante in on here. I don't know what he's doing. All right, so we'll try to get him in. I don't know when you came on, but I just started kind of, explaining who we had on. We had on Dr. Cynthia, and she started discussing mental health and how I think COVID made it a little bit more accessible for people to get help, and the realization that we don't need to have schizophrenia, we don't need to be bipolar, we don't need to have any kind of personality disorder to actually get help. Going through, well, how long? Well, first of all, how long have you been with Dr. Cynthia? How long have you been seeing her?
I've been seeing her almost a year or so now, and I did catch what you were saying as far as like being cooped up and being part of that whole COVID thing. It was a lot to take in.
Right.
Um, through a bit of a breakdown because I was homeschooling my daughters at the same time while going to school, and everything was online. So it's like I had to be attentive to my classwork that was going on online, on top of being attentive to my daughter's classwork online, and then the youngest not being in school yet and keeping her entertained. And like, it was a lot. It became a lot at one point.
Right. So you're all things to all people all the time. 100%. It's a little bit hard to divide yourself up into like 100%. It just doesn't usually end well. But one second, for Candria, who popped on, she wants to know who we are. So Candria, my name is Nikki. I am an online health and nutrition coach. My business is Athena Warrior Training. And together we are with Jakeem and Dante, who are Beyond Eons Productions. And what we are trying to do is talk to you about life, about
Trying,
different things.
we doing
What
it. We ain't trying, we're doing it.
we are doing. We are doing it. We are bringing on different people. So Beyond Eons Productions has a show called The Other Side of Things. And The Other Side of Things, we have conversations with different professionals and people of interest who we feel can shed some light on things that people are going through. It could be health and fitness. It could be mental health. So we're kind of showing what Rhode Island is in one aspect, but also trying to reach the masses of getting people help in whatever it is, whether it's money, mental health, physical health, whatever that may be. So if you two want to introduce yourself real quick so Kendra can know who everyone is.
right. I am Jakeem Parker, owner and creator of Beyond Eons Productions. And as Nikki was so colorfully placing it, we are a production company who likes to shine light on those who may have not had the light shine on them in the sense of businesses, politicians, health professions, uh, local beauticians, barbers, like people who we go to every day, people that we sit down in front of, people that we do business with, that we don't really know them as a person. We don't know their steps. We don't know what they've been through in life to get to where they are now. Right. So it's a reintroduction to people, not just in Rhode Island, but we're branding, we're going broader. It's like we started in Rhode Island, we're going in the mass, we're going as far as we can take it. And it's when you tune in, you never know who's going to be sitting down with us. You never know what the conversation is going to be about, but that's the whole basis of it. It's getting the other side of a story that you never thought you might have needed to hear. Like you may hear something in it that has nothing to do with your life, or you may hear something that may be that answer you've been looking for to push you forward in the goal that you had in life. So
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And hi, Sunshine. I just see she popped in here. Dante, who are you?
Me, I'm just a person that has a voice, and I'm going to express it the best way I'm able to express it until I'm no longer able to express it.
Love it. Love it. In one sentence, beautifully said. All right, so I kind of gave an introduction to Dr. Cynthia, so I'm going to move on from that. What I was saying is that she kind of split up her definition of mental health in two parts. One, she kind of mentioned that it's bigger than just a diagnosis, that it's important that everyone gets help and that we don't need to have a diagnosis to get help, that it can be any kind of personal matter, and that COVID really opened us up to that light of it's okay to reach out to someone, to reach out to a professional, to get unbiased help. But what I really liked was that she put mental health on a level playing field with everything else. Like, just like we're all three of us are attacking our physical health, you have to have the same level of intensity going into your mental health, because they're everything that you do, your physical and your mental health come together and make you the best person that you can be. And I really enjoyed both of your analogies, Dante with the Coke bottle analogy and Dr. Cynthia with the boiling pot of water. So I don't know if you guys want to speak on that and how you felt about those analogies for mental health.
Well, honestly, it's like me and King was talking and stuff, and I was saying up there saying, like, it's amazing, like, us as a Black community, even though we're not just speaking to our own community, it's amazing as a Black community. Like, we always sit up there and say we want to see a difference, and it's like we're presenting a difference, and it seemed like that people ain't gravitating into the difference that we're trying to present, and it's like heartbreaking, because the fact of the matter is, when you see what's going on in the society, and especially in your own home or close to home, and you want to make a difference, and you know how to make a difference, but people don't want to gravitate and take the difference, it hurt, because it's like, yo, I want this for you, but it seems like you don't want it for yourself. So when we do use analogies, we use analogies to get you to understand that, like when I talk to you, Nikki, it's like what you do, you help people in conditions before they get into a worse condition. Mm-hmm. So when I use that Coke bottle analogy, I'm showing you, like, your body could be like a container, and the more stress and pressures that you take on in your life and you don't deal with them, eventually you're going to combust. And if you see the Coke bottle, you put it in a freezer or you shake it up, what happened? It bursts. And that's what happened when people don't understand that that's what strokes are. That's what heart attacks are. That's what mental breakdowns are. It's the Coke bottle bursting in the analogy. So when you want to keep people from that and say, hey, listen, the way you go, like, I got a friend, and I'm going to give it to Keem after this. I have a friend. Notice I said had a friend. He had money, and he was so high strung. I told him, yo, this is going to hurt you. It's going to kill you. And what happened? He had no kids, had money, died. And he said he wish he could undo all of that he done. But when I was giving him the information and my life was an example, it still didn't resonate. And look what happened.
Yep.
He met his demise. So it's like hard. Like I said, it's heartbreaking because it's like, here's something to eat. You saying you're hungry. Here's something to eat, and yet you don't want to eat it because it's not the meal you want, or who's delivering the meal you don't care for. So if I was Drake or Kendrick right now delivering that meal, you want to eat it. But again, you don't know these people and don't even know how they prepared the meal. But here I am preparing the meal, showing you how it's prepared, and yet you refuse to eat.
Yeah.
There's another analogy.
Yeah. So we're gonna keep it rolling with analogies. So you've all heard like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right? The key to that analogy is what they don't tell you. The other half of that is that's if you can get the horse to follow you in the first place.
Oh, boss.
Think about it. Like we can lay out all of the health, all of the how-tos and whatnot, but the person has to want it. And not on us to force a person to want that help. What we are doing is presenting avenues for you to get that help or to get in touch with these professionals, or if you want to get in touch with us to get to these professionals, like the opportunity is there. And I think that's what our base of the conversation was like. It's not that I don't care that no one is watching. It's not that I don't care that no one is following. It's more so that I understand and I am set and proud of the fact that it is there. When
It's out there. Yeah.
out there. It is there whenever they decide to find it or whenever it decides to find them. The opportunity is always there. So I take that into consideration when looking at like, well, nobody's really viewing it, nobody cared for it. Like I have to understand, like yesterday you was at the gym and you was talking to this dude and randomly he started talking about the show. Like he would like conversation started with you about something else and then all of a sudden the show popped up and he likes what he sees and he was like, and he was wondering like more and more about it. He wanted to get more information. How does it work? Where do y'all set up? Where are you? Like we're everywhere.
Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter. We'll be in your couch. We'll be in your office. We could be on the beach. Like we go everywhere. The conversation can happen anywhere. That's like you ever seen the movie Stigmata?
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
So it's about a woman who gets possessed, but it was breaking down one of the gospels and it said God said, if you split a rock, I am there. If you lift a piece of wood, you will find me. Basically, he was saying what I got from the analogy was like, you don't have to be in church. You don't have to be in an office to find work. You can get mental health in a doctor's office. You can get mental health with sitting down with a confidant and having deep conversations about your feelings. When you take the time to explore and dive into what it is that may be bothering you or what is wrong that you feel is off with you, that's steps that you're taking towards bettering yourself.
Right.
You don't have to find yourself in the office and feeling like the stereotypical, oh, I'm crazy now because I'm sitting down with this person and talking about my problems. Like when you talk about your problems to your closest friends, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But you're trying to get to the bottom of an issue. That's the thing you have to realize. Like it is not the person, it's not the prepped meal that's in front of you. It's the nutrition that's in the meal that you need. You can find that anywhere, but you have to want it.
Yep. Yep, exactly. There are lessons and blessings everywhere. Everywhere you turn, you have to open your mind and your heart to receive. One of the biggest things when I work with who I work with, your why has to be bigger than what you're going through. And that's the same thing. Like whether someone resonates with me, Dante, Jakeem, or whatever person we have on, hopefully there's one little snippet of words that strung together just perfectly for that person to want to make the change or to hear it in the right way. For example, Ori can tell me something 500,000 times, but if my girlfriend says it in a different way with a different tone of voice and, on that moment where I'm receptive, I will receive it. And then he'll be like, I've been telling you this for the past 6 months. I'm like, and? And it's frustrating, but it wasn't because I didn't want it. I just wasn't ready to receive that information. So from what we're doing and constantly putting out these things and those little nuggets of mental health and physical health and hearing people's stories, we're giving opportunities all the time for people to make a difference in their lives and to that one moment on that one day. For example, my friend Sarah listened to our Wednesday Whisper last week when she was working out. She loved it. It's what she needed that day. Through the whole workout, she was there with us the whole way through. And that's amazing to me. Even if it's just one person that we reach at any given moment makes such a profound difference. And right, people are listening, and when they're ready, they'll come to us and say, look, this really, really helped me.
The information's there.
Yeah.
So the point of the matter is, like I said, as being a published author, like those that read my books and those that apply it is there. It's like, the thing is, I'm comfortable with myself because I know I gave people the opportunity to receive what it is that they needed. So it's up to them to take it. If they don't take it, they don't take it, because again, it works for my life. Like, I'm enjoying my life. Like I keep saying, and I tell Keen this all the time, my goal is to get y'all in a position where you want to be in life. And that's what I'm going to continue to do until I can't do it no more. So the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how many people tuning in or not. It's not about views and numbers with me. It's about, do you see a difference where you are? And until people understand that, because people that know me and hang out with me, and they see, like, me and Sunshine, we've been hanging out, and she's been meeting some of my friends. Like, she met King, and then we was hanging out with a friend yesterday that does news reporting in New York. And she said, like, how people gravitate to me, how they happy to see me, even if they ain't see me in a long time, because they know my character, they know my personality, they know what I'm about. So the thing about it is, I'm going to continue to leave these artifacts, leave these archives, and whether they get it now or later, it's on them. But put it this way, it's like medicine. If you know you can get the medicine and get healed today, and you refuse to take it, and then you find out later on down the line that if I'd have took this medicine, I would feel better today, it's on them. So the thing about it is, like I said, I'm going to give the information. I'm going to always continue to give the information, because that's what God has put me in a position to do. Don't take it personal. Keep it moving. Just continue to be the example with your life.
Now let me ask you. Oh, go ahead, Jakeem. Go ahead.
Take a moment to shout out to Kev, who's in there. He was our brother on the first episode of season 2. He's in here watching. I know he's working, but I wanted to say thank you for sitting down and having that conversation with us, not just on Wednesday Whispers, but in the episode of my brother. I look forward to the second episode and where we pick up and where the conversation is going to go, because life changes every day, and we don't know how that's going to start, how it's going to end. I know there's going to be some laughs in between, but it's always good to have that community, that communication, because he was talking about a men's group that he was a part of at a time, and how that worked for a while, and then like people's lives gravitated in different directions and it stopped happening. But who knows, it may start again, you know? And and I just wanted to thank you, and I look forward to the future of what will happen with these conversations.
Yep. Yeah. And I've been, so now that I'm following Kevin, I've been able to see some of his more recent work and pictures and thoughts. And I was just saying before you guys came on that he had just recently put out a reel that I'll look forward to watching when we're done here. But on that note, let's I want to go to the race card a little bit.
Season 3.
What is, huh?
That's season 3. We getting it
Yeah,
started.
okay. Well, let's connect it to mental health, because I think that's imperative. What is it with the Black community, specifically with Black men, that where's the why are we having such a hard time? Why are we having such a hard time listening to each other? Why are we having such a hard time congratulating each other? Why are we having such a hard time accepting that someone got out of a bad situation, and instead of following, we're pushed back. We push back. We say, "Oh, they had to do X, Y, Z to get there. Where are we at right now, and why can't we move forward?"
You want to set it off, Keem, or me?
Why? I think that goes back into the conversation we was having in My Brother's Keeper. It is a sad intergenerational thing that is passed down. It's the machoism that is passed down of what a man is or how to be a man. And I don't think it's just with the Black community. It's it's more prominent in the Black community because I feel we're in the spotlight more often than not in just in a positive light, but in a lot of negative light with violence and killings and that negative light always stems back to that machoism I was referring to as far as like men don't cry. You got to hold your own. Like you have to be tough. You can't show emotion. You have to be the man of the house. Like you were given all these stereotypes or these like plateaus to reach, but we're never guided on why or how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
So we have to draw our own conclusions or be given or draw off of the conclusions that was drawn by somebody else who was not taught properly, or like it just as far as back as you can reach, you can find a spot where something was dropped, where the information didn't come across the right way or it wasn't portrayed in the proper way. Like so, it's hard to say if it's just the Black community. It's hard for me to say it's just a Black community, but I think it just stems in the male aspect of this ideal of what a man should be, and that's how we are where we at now. Like, and then the media and society doesn't make it any easier to step away from that, because anything different from what is the status nor the norm makes you less than what a man is. So it's a double-edged sword.
So do you feel like there's always an oppression there, or a cloud there, or a ceiling where that you can't get past? So obviously I'm extremely light skinned. I have not been put in a situation where I've been, you know, discriminated against. I've been talked about. I look different, but not to the point where I've had struggles all my life that I felt like I've been held down by my race. So is that a component in being maybe bitter or beaten down to the point where you just feel like you can't get anywhere? How have you, either of you, experienced that before?
It's a feeling of constant defense. Like I can get praised and get accolades for one thing, but and then turn the corner and be arrested for just being. Like, take Killer Mike for a second. Killer Mike got a Grammy for his last album, like highly celebrated. Like I think it's like the first rap Grammy in a while since like Fresh Prince got it, or something to that extent. Like he was highly praised that night. Before he left, arrested. Like went from being highly celebrated for the best album of the year, you know, arrested for a misunderstanding. And when you have a life where you deal with that back and forth, it's like, how do you find peace? How do you find a sense of normalcy? Like I can be okay with being me today because I don't have to worry about this happening to me. I don't have to worry about this person judging me. I don't have to worry about, is the cop going to turn around because he passed me and I was just happened to be riding with my hoodie? Like the unknowing, that constant like juggling of emotions, it's stressful. Not everybody goes through that plight, but yes, I've gone through it. I've had discrimination. I've been stereotyped. I've been called the N-word. Like it's, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm not an overly aggressive person. I'm a pretty chill person that you can sit down and talk with, highly intelligent, but it's like, until you sit down with me and actually talk with me, you don't see that. And I have that. Like I have to go into a conversation thinking that or feeling like you may not see me yet, and
Yep.
have to like I have to welcome you in to show you that you don't have to see me that way,
Right.
and it shouldn't.
Hence, you guys have to go watch the colorblind episode. So I'll let you continue.
Yes. So yeah, but that's just my take on it, Dante.
Dante.
Well, to answer your question, I'm gonna speak from experience, and I'm gonna speak on observation as well. When you don't have an example in the home, whether it be a father or some form of leadership, I ain't say leader, but some leadership, you're misguided. So whatever you see as a leader, like if you notice when you hear a lot of people say like successful rappers is I wanted to be like the guy I seen on the streets, which is the hustlers, the drug dealers, the pimps, when we was growing up. So you gravitate to what you see as what you deem strength. So that was the strength for the person growing up. So you thinking that's the right way to be as a man. So now when you already was conditioned and groomed to think that ideology, now you got somebody's coming and telling you that's not the right way, and you feel like that way worked for me all my life, and now you telling me that's not the right way, but you don't understand as you getting older why someone is telling you that's not the right way, because they ain't telling you about the statistics of them people going to prison, being 6 feet deep, sickness and the stresses that come with that. So when it comes to the racism of it, when you see what the media present, is always a face that look like me doing something crazy. Like I don't sell drugs. I'm not a drug dealer. But the way I dress, what I drive, when I'm used to be with my friends who are Portuguese, Italian, I used to watch their parents say, do he sell drugs? Because of the way I present myself. And it's a stereotype. Why? Because that's what they see on television. That's what they know. So again, they don't sit up there and put the people that successful going to work or successful with their own business. Because there's a lot of people that I do follow that have their own business that started from the bottom and now they very successful. So that's the racism of it, because of the fact of you see more people who work hard don't get the spotlight that they deserve, where you see the negative aspect of us as black men being portrayed out there. Mm-hmm. So until we, like what we're doing right now, Keem's a family man, I'm a single man, what we're doing is we showing you the other side of the life that you could do. Look, Keem owns a house, he owns a production. You know, what's up, Paparazzi Rob? He's in there. He owns a production. Here I am, co-owner of his production. Here I am, I'm investing in banks. Like I said, when I walk in the banks, they don't address me as Dante, they say Mr. Martin, because my credit score, my finances, they don't look at the color of my skin. They're looking at the fact of, yo, this man is very successful. This man knows how to handle his money. So we're not going to get that spotlight because, again, if they continue to put the negative picture of go be a rapper, go be a basketball player, go be something that really does not educate or bring up the levels of morals in our community, that's what they're going to project. Because I always say, like even with my friends, now Nikki, here's the thing. What's the problem with us? We don't know how to celebrate one another. Like when someone becomes successful and you watch them be poor, like my friends see me poor. They watch me poor, now they see me in a great position. And instead of them celebrating, I'm like, that's one of us. He did it. I was the ugly duckling that became the beautiful swan. Now, you know what? We want to tear him down. He think he's better than us. But you're looking at a rapper that you don't know, talking about and bragging about, I got your family, your spouse on my wrist or whatever, and you don't know this man. You don't even know if he's telling the truth. But yet, that's what's crazy. And I think it's because I'm touchable. So I could put him down. I seen where he come from. He lucky. But these people you don't know and don't see, you don't see their everyday life. You want to gravitate to that person and you don't even know if the story that they're being presented is true or not?
Right.
Mental health.
No, Right. Yeah, exactly. And almost to me, it sounds like a fear of failure. So you're looking at these people who are way up there, way like what you feel like is out of reach that you are striving towards. But then you have someone right in front of you who's a prime example of what you can actually achieve. And then it's like you get dissed for it essentially. You get put down for it, and you're told that you're above and beyond who they are. You're like, no, I'm showing you a different way. I'm showing you a different path. And one thing I like about you two is you guys have broken the family mold. Like you took your situations and you were surrounded by the people, right people, to be able to stop that generational, I guess, disability or a curse, if you want to call it. So now you two are leading the charge on being able to focus on the generations, well, all generations really, but to bring these kids up and your daughters and Dante, if you have children or whoever you work with, to say it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm a true example of how to get up out of it and be successful. And it's hard. It's hard because it's coming from all facets, media, internally with home, friends, and to see that you're going above and beyond that is, I think, is huge. And same thing with Kevin as well. Yeah, it just shows who you are, and yeah, I
I'll give
commend
you
you both for that.
I'll give you an example, Nikki. Check this out, right? Um, like me and Sunshine, we've been hanging out, like I said, and she has a daughter. That's not my daughter. So
Mhm.
I was just like this, right? When I meet your daughter, I don't want to meet her in your home. I want to meet her in an environment where she feel comfortable. What's her favorite restaurant? So we're going to eat at her favorite restaurant, and that's how I want to introduce myself to her. That's how I want her to meet me. See, the thing about it is it doesn't matter what happened before. It's the example that you set forth now. What are you doing with the information you have now? We can sit up there and keep saying somebody wasn't there, somebody didn't do this. But okay, now you're in the position. What you're doing with that position in. That's why I wanted to sit down and talk with that therapist. And you heard what I said, like, I'm just a little counselor therapist that nobody want to listen to, spiritualist. But the fact of the matter, if you notice what she was saying, is you're correct. And that was a good question because, again, papers doesn't define who you are. Your life, what comes out your mouth defines who you are. Because someone could look poor and look homeless, but if you don't know their bank account, but if the information come out is rich, you ain't gonna listen to them because they're parents.
Yeah, and that is the that is the sad cycle that I was referring to that we were in, and it's like, and I don't know if I answered your question, Nikki, but as far as it being in the Black community, like I think we just have this ongoing light on us because of history in itself. It seems like the community has been fighting for a standpoint in society so long that the 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 Coke bottle has burst on some people and they are exploding, but that's what gets the attention rather than the person that was striving to get something changed or have something better for the community. That fight wasn't shown. It was the point when that person finally exploded from the denial or the shuns or the cold shoulders or the closed doors. When that person finally met their tipping point and exploded, now you want to put the camera on them. Now you want
Yes.
to now you want to focus on what they're doing. Now you want to show, look at this, look what they're doing. Like,
Right.
and
The end result of all the trauma and all the bullshit and everything else they deal with.
and if this is the constant campaign that we're dealing with, subliminally or like consciously or subconsciously, like these are the fights that are happening on many fronts. It's not just physical. It is mental. It is a mental game that's being played. And everybody's partaking in it, and everybody has been given different tasks. Everybody is getting redirected. Oh, it's like that whole feeling of like I take two steps forward, now I got to take four back. It's like, when do I feel comfortable? When do I feel like I've succeeded? And then you go through so much of that. When you do succeed, you don't even notice it. This man points it out to me all the time about where I'm at now and points out my success, and I still don't really see it. Like, I'm so goal driven and work steady. Like, I'm like, I got to do this, got to do this, got to. It's like, and he'll like, you're doing it. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing it. Like, I can't I don't even take the moment to receive and accept the steps I've made in my life. I don't take the time to enjoy my accomplishments.
Right.
And it's sad because by the time it all comes to an end and it's like, I guess it finally hits me, it might be too late to really enjoy it and bask in that moment of like, I did all of this.
Yep. I do the same thing. Yep. You don't take take the time to step back and celebrate what you've done. I don't know. For me, it feels like a weakness. And yes, I'm so focused on propelling myself forward and goal driven and getting to, Z. But also I feel like if we celebrate too much, if we stop too much, that we'll just stop. Like, okay, we're done. I'm good. So for me, there's always feel that looming thing in the back, like, well, I'm not good. I don't want to slow down. I want to keep going. But if we don't celebrate the little wins, and this is the same thing when I work with clients. Okay, the scale didn't go down, but guess what? You can button your, belt. Your belt is on a different notch. You're sleeping better. You're nicer to your children. Your face is clearing up. You're digesting, you're not as bloated. Like, look at all the small wins. You have to accomplish them, or excuse me, celebrate them day in, day out to keep motivated to propelling yourself forward. And I think for you and I, Jakeem, that drive is so strong anyways that we don't necessarily need the little moments, but we really do. We really do, because we get lost in how hard it is and we forget those wins.
Two things. Do you know the acronym for fear?
No.
False emotions appearing real.
Yeah.
That's what fear means. Second, something that Kev said in one of his Instagram lives, he's like, we have to battle these negative thoughts. Like, that is a negative thought. This fear that we have, like, if we stop too long, we're not going to continue. We're not going to pick it back up. And he said for every bad thought, you should immediately try to pull 5 positive things that you've done just in that day.
Yep.
Counter it. You have to, like, and that's the work that we have to do. That's the mental work that we have to do. We have to, as much as we're down on ourselves, we have to work just as hard to be on top of praising ourselves. So when we're not feeling at our best, we have to take a moment to see what we've done, not maybe in that day, but like in the past week, in that week. What have I done this week that I was really proud of? And really take a moment to look at it and enjoy, like, I did do that.
Yeah, I do the same thing with my clients. A few of them, they were just having a tough time. And I said, okay, every single time you check in every week, I want 5 wins for the week. What actually went well? What can you be proud of? I don't care how small it is or how big it is. And those things build momentum, and you can build off of those. And you realize, like, oh, wow, I did do that. I had a great conversation with my son. I had a really nice time with my husband, or whatever the case may be. And it's taking that positivity to, you can't really wipe out the negatives because you feel what you're going to feel, but you can get through them. You can get past those emotions, I think, a little bit faster. And, one thing Dr. Cynthia was saying is the goal is to be whole. I don't know if that's possible because we're always being challenged by different things on a daily basis. But the idea that you're striving for wholesomeness, yeah, you know what? I wonder what that looks like. I don't know.
It depends on what you consider whole.
Yeah.
Like, thank you.
Yeah, right.
It's your definition of what whole is for you. You are the best person to tell you what's broken in you.
Right.
And you are the best person to say, you know what, I'm no longer broken in that aspect. Like,
but are you though? If you're that deep, again, I think it comes from, it just depends where you're at any given time. So again, it's that one moment, that one conversation, like Kevin's conversation with his neighbors. Like, he was doing in it deep. He refused to see what was wrong, and refused to see that that had nothing to do with anything that was going on in his life, that his past, his family, all that stuff was back there. So that's another crutch, not a crutch, it's another thing that we have to be aware of, that this is what we're doing that's so profound. It's like just that one sentence that gets someone to be able to change makes a big difference. But yeah, wholesomeness for me, I think maybe wholesomeness is synonymous with balance, but I don't believe that either. I don't believe that we can ever really have a true balance of life, work, family, self-care. But I think if you're moving in a positive direction in all of those facets, that you're, moving towards that wholesome, as balanced way of life as possible.
I would
Yo,
say
check
so,
this out, Nikki.
real quick.
Go ahead.
I would say
What you
so.
gonna say, Keem?
I would say real quick. I was like, I would substitute that search for balance, and instead of saying balance, say understanding, because finding that level ground is also taking the time to understand your part in the situation. Not everything is a focal point. Not everything is that person's fault or this person's fault. It's like you also have to recognize and realize the role you play in the situation. And when you can accept your role in it, whether good or bad, I think you can start to find that understanding or balance in your life.
Hi, Valerie. Yep, go ahead, Dante.
All right, because you brought up that Kevin episode. The part that Keem cut off, watch this when it comes to wholeness. It was a conversation that I was having with my neighbor. She's 50-something. She introduced me to her mother. This is a double WP, white people. So she, out of the blue, was like, oh, come meet my mom when I was going to the gym. So I went to go sit down with her mother. Mother's 70-something years old. So we saying, now, this is the first time I ever met her. She's saying this brown face, cinnamon. So as she talking to me, you would have thought me and her knew each other for a long time. That's how the conversation was. And so her daughter's looking at it like, how you gravitate and understand? She's like, do you understand what this guy's saying? She's like, yeah, I understand everything he's saying. So I asked her a question. This was the question that Keem cut off. I said, if you could go back to any part of your life and redo it over, where would you go? And she said, the age 18. Now, what was so crazy when she said that, her daughter said, I wouldn't be here.
Yep, you find that a lot when
Wait,
you ask that question. That's why I say I would never go back. I would never change anything.
So before we go forward in this conversation, the reason why from the episode is because the audio went really bad, because that day everything was shutting off. Like, and we was losing cameras, we was losing audio, and the quality was not putting up there. I was going to start the conversation again and the follow. We're here now.
We definitely going to. No, I remember. That's why I was like. So when you talk about wholeness, right? Remember, she's 70-something, and when she could go back to 18, what was she doing at 18 that she want to undo and redo? And remember, I said she's 70-something. Her daughter's 50-something. So it's not like she had her daughter at 18. She had her daughter when she was in the 20s. So what happened at 18 that she wish she could undo? But it was crazy that her daughter said, I wouldn't. That was her first thing. I wouldn't be here. I was like, you got that out of this? But it made sense. But that's what I'm sitting up there saying, when it comes to people, remember, when it comes to mental health and addressing it, it's like if somebody took a mirror and showed you all your flaws, and you've been running away from these flaws all your life, and now I'm presenting it to you. And now you got to deal with it when I didn't want to deal with it.
It's scary. It is not fun.
I'm good.
No, and I think that's it. That is probably the biggest part about it. Is like it goes past the the stereotypical, oh, I'm crazy because I need to go sit down and see a professional or this, that, and the third, and like that's just the sugarcoating basis of how it's viewed. it's like, I think at the core of it, it comes down to that very one thing. It's like, I have to deal with myself. I'm gonna have to deal with a lot of hurt. I'm gonna have to deal with things that I forgot about. Like, I'm gonna have to talk about stuff that I haven't talked to or talked about in years. Things that I've forgot that will come up in other conversations. Like, now I gotta backtrack and look at that story again. I forgot that aspect of it. I didn't realize I've been doing that for this long. Like, there's a lot of uncomfortable situations that may come from it, but taking those steps and working through it, there's levity in it. There is a sense of healing and feel good that comes with, like, I address the issues. Like, it's okay for me to even think about it now. I don't have to hide from it anymore. I can talk about it if I choose to, without feeling like guilty or feeling cringy or feeling like ashamed of what happened.
Right.
It happened.
Right.
And that's another thing. It's like, you can draw from the past and see all those terrible things, but it's like, that was then. That's not today.
Right.
Like, those things sucked. It was terrible. I can't change any of it. What I can do is work to not let it happen again.
Right.
Yep. I mean, and that's exactly where my story follows now with my daughter. And I can't take back any of the things that happened when, I was married to her father, but it's realizing what happened, teaching her what I was going through, explaining as much as I can for her age, what I had to do when I had to do it, and say, but, we're moving forward from this. And I want you to understand what I went through and what you went through as a result, so that we can take that step forward and heal and get to a better spot. But it's not easy. That mirror is vicious. It really is, especially the older you get. And like you said, you start to forget some of those things, and then you start to connect the dots, and you're just like mind blown. And you're like, oh my God, do I have to seriously go back 20 years to figure this out? And you do. You do have to revisit those times, because there's so much of that conditioning that you were talking about that you have to undo. And where were your faults? What did you do well? How do you change it now? Because you're a completely different person, but it formed the way you are now.
You're not a different person. You know what it is? Remember, like, when you go to school, just look at it in school. When you was in elementary, they was teaching you and preparing you to graduate. So you go from elementary to high school. You're still that person. You're just evolving. You're just leveling up. Because when you go from high school to college, is a whole new world. Like, when you go to graduate school, is a whole different. See, you could go to college as a student and graduate school as a business person. You see what I mean? It's different. You're still that person. It's basically, this is what I always tell people. Your surrounding is very important, and the people that you're around, that's going to breed or birth success. That's why I like to hang around people. Like, I always hung around people that had more than me. You know why? One, I wasn't jealous. I was like a sponge. I was absorbing. I was taking it in. I was like, how did you get what you got? And I would take the information and put it in my soil to grow my fruits. So now that I have grown my fruit and produced, now I'm doing it for someone else. So the thing is, what it is, the first thing we have to accept accountability of what part did I play in what's going on with my life. What did I do? It doesn't matter what somebody did to me. Oh, best to you as well. It's on the playback. It's going to be on Facebook and everything. So again, thank you for joining. But my accountability. What did I do? The decisions I made, the choices I made, the people that I was gravitated to, the people that I allowed in my life, because nothing can happen to you unless you allow it, except for somebody violated. It's different. And when I wrote my book, I said that because, again, I know a lot of women. Like, do you know, Nikki and Keen, on 100% of women I met, there's only 2 that was not violated. 2. And I met over thousands of women. So that's why I have to be clear in what I'm saying. So the accountability of yourself. Once you accept the accountability, then you can ask yourself, where do I go from here? It's like when you sit up there, you said, as a father, you're never going to master being a father. You're never going to master being a husband. You're never going to master that. You know why? Because as you continue to evolve, you become from what? You was a man to become a husband, to become a father, to one day become a grandfather. And then you could be a great-grandfather if you're still alive. So as long as you're breathing, you're going to continue to elevate based on what you put yourself into. Because as a man, I could be older than Keem. I'm not a father. So I haven't received that aspect of life. I haven't experienced that. But I can still father children, helping other people, children. So that's what it is. It's about accepting where you are. What could I do to better myself? Who could I get around? What do I need? Thank you. What do I need? And it's up to me to want that. If I don't want that, I'm not gonna gravitate to it. That's why I don't do counseling no more like I used to, and that's why I don't really, because I'm learning. It's hurt. Like I said, it hurts more when I'm sitting up here telling you, yo, you need this water. You need this water. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna get sick. Yo, there's a pothole down there. Don't go down that road. Then they hit the pothole. You know what I mean? People come back to me and say you was right, and their life is messed. Okay, what can we do about it now? But again, and it's hard to get a person that made so many poor decisions that they can't undo to now get forward, because all they thinking is they stuck in that mindset of, I messed up. Okay, cool. You messed up. You messed up. But get the information for your children or somebody else. Help somebody else not go through what you went through. And that's another thing. Are you that prideful when you don't want to help someone else? So that's what it is. It's not about if I'm receiving the help or not. It's like, let me get the help so I can make sure the next generation don't go through what I went through or feel what I feel.
Right. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for your loved ones. You know, it's like sometimes you just feel like you can't take that next step, but then you're like, well, if I don't, I'm not going to be here for my child. They're going to grow up without a mom. They're going to grow up without a dad. Do it for that next person until you have that internal ability to really say, I can do it for me. I'm ready to do it for me.
Thank you. I was going to bring up that point. I'm glad you said that. Like, don't, just because you feel stuck now and you have the means to help someone or help the next generation not do it, don't give up on yourself. Never give up on yourself. That's the one thing I would always say. Like, I have friends back in Boston who've known me since high school, just at the third, and when I broke the news to them about me having MS and whatnot, and I still was just like joyful, playful, just still being me, cracking jokes and whatnot. And my boy was like, dude, you have always been this way. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I don't care what situation you've ever been thrown. Like, you look at it, acknowledge it, and dust it off like it didn't happen, and you just keep moving. I've never seen you stop. You like, you may have a moment like, yeah, I have my moments. I break down. My wife be like, listen, if we're going to have a sob fest, we're going to have a sob fest. We go upstairs, close the door, grab some tissues. You let it out, I let it out. We just cry. I'm like, and it'd be moments like that. But in the end of those moments, once I've dried my tears, wiped my face, and got the snot off my shirt, I still gotta move. I still gotta live. I still gotta keep going.
The world keeps turning.
And I heard you say hi, Valerie, earlier, and I realized who it was. This is Valerie Tutson over there with Rhode Island Black Storytellers. How you doing, Ms. Valerie Tutson?
Thanks for joining me, Valerie.
Yes, we definitely gonna have to come knocking on that door as well, because that's another great company of people to sit down with. So I'm saying it now. That might just happen. I don't know how soon, but that's gonna happen.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so we have part 2 with Dr. Cynthia coming out. Is that next week?
This week. It's coming out this week.
Yeah, this Sunday, right? Okay.
This Sunday. I am doing the final touches on it as we speak. Some funny things happen. I broke my protocol of not watching the show after I edit. I tend to not watch it because I've been like so into it and editing, so I feel like I've already seen it. And I tuned in just towards the end, and I noticed something. I was like, wow. I wonder how many people caught it. Nikki, did you catch anything weird in the episode?
Right at the end?
Or no, in the overall, don't say nothing. Let's see what she says. Did you find anything weird about the conversation at any point?
I thought I heard a little hiccup in there, but so I listened to it twice and I didn't pick up on anything major. No.
Visually, did you see anything weird?
No, because I was at the gym for the first time, and then this morning I watched it again, listened to it again, but I was doing other stuff, so I didn't get to actually watch it.
All right, I'm not going to say anything right now. There's a little "Where's Waldo" moment that happens in the episode.
Yeah? Okay, so
I'm not.
that's for the listeners. You guys have to try to find it.
Everybody have to go find it. Gotta go watch it again and see if they can find it because
Okay,
I'm
okay.
right now.
Well, at some point when we have T-shirts or something, we can throw in those little Easter eggs, and if people find it, we can throw them a Beyond Eons T-shirt at some point.
Right.
All right,
Yeah,
very cool.
and if you find it, you gotta tune in to Wednesday Whispers next week and post it in the chat, and we'll let you know if you're right or not, and then we'll go from there.
But you know
Awesome, awesome.
what it
So,
is?
any final words from either of you two?
Say again.
Last words.
Any final words from either of you two?
Well, hold up, King, because I'm gonna let you end it. I'll just say this. I always say you're not alone. One. Two, until we come together, come together and really, like you said something about racism, like we're gonna address that. Like I'm trying to get some racist people on the show. Until we come together and have a conversation, you don't have to agree to move forward because you gotta agree to disagree. Just have the conversation. Until we do that, we're never going to get where we're trying to go as a people. And it's like the more things, like when wait till Anastasia episode happened and the things that she was saying is going to happen.
Yep.
When that happened, you're going to really see the ugliness of people. I got friends right now all getting guns, all getting guns. They getting guns because they think the worst is going to happen. And my thing is, I'm like, listen, that's not the answer. Violence is never the answer. Because again, after you shoot everybody and lay them down, what's next? What you gonna be? I Am Legend? You gonna be by yourself with your dog? So
Yep.
that's my thing is just have the conversation. Whether you have it with me, whether you have it with someone else, whether you have it with yourself, you can always write down your conversations and read them. Because you know what? So write it down and then go revisit it because you'll sit up there and be like, I didn't know I felt this way. You just have the conversation. That's all I want to say to people. Have the conversation sooner than later.
Yeah. I agree. I agree because I found this even dates back to when I was in nursing school. I didn't know I had opinions about certain things until I actually started talking about it. We had a cultural class, and that I realized that I had some anger in me for various things that I didn't even know was there. So having that conversation, posing those questions, starting to go back and forth just to find a deeper understanding of what it is that you're thinking, whether right or wrong or having misconceptions about things, but opening up that conversation, Dante, is huge. And I think it can solve so many issues if we can sit down, be adults, and talk through it. Whether we agree or not, hear each other's side and really listen and, not necessarily accept it, but just understand each other.
There's nothing for me to say after both of those things.
Oh my God.
What did you just say?
Sorry, I was like,
Oh man.
All right,
Wednesday
one
whiskey.
sentence, Hakeem. You got something. I know you do.
Oh man.
all of us have been lost. All of us feel lost. All of us feel alienated at one point in our lives. There is someone or something that can and will pull us back. And if you have the opportunity to grab it, or the opportunity presents itself where it grabs you, trust and follow. Because on the end of that is far better than where you left yourself. Remember, you don't always have to stay in the dark.
Amen. Beautiful, beautiful. On that note, you guys, be ready for Mind Games Part 2 this Sunday, and we will have Dr. Cynthia on next Wednesday. Until then, thank you so much for your love and support, and yeah, comment, find that Easter egg. I need to go back, so I'll be watching for a third time. All right, y'all, happy Wednesday. We'll see you soon.
Salute.
All right, now.